So now I'm done with a few of those other projects. Finally, I can go back on the Suburban. I'd really like to get that front axle bolted in there. So I gotta make a few more brackets, which means I gotta bring that big heavy chunk of steel out again. I had it nice and set up here, and then I needed to work here, so I had to put it away. So I think that's the first step, is bring that out and start cutting out some brackets out of that I've already made a cardboard template, and we'll get going. And then I think at the end of this video, I'll have a surprise. Well, the metal's up here, but what sucks now is right there, I bent my leg trying to force this up here by myself. I'm trying to use leverage instead of just picking it up. It appears it was already welded there at some point, and like this whole thing is all botched together and stuff. So I might have to straighten that and fix that at some point. But I got the other side propped up on some tires for now. And I'll start cutting over here, making this big chunk shorter. And here's the shape I'm gonna make. It's not the sleekest looking or anything, but it'll get the job done. And I'll have 3 holes. I haven't decided exactly where yet. I gotta take a few more measurements off the truck where I want the axle. But somewhere along either this one, and this one, or this one, and this one, I'll be doing this. And then I gotta trim it out. And I gotta make 4 of them on here, 2 of them without this, so they can go on the end. And then trim them out, weld them on, well, drill the holes, weld them on. And then, yeah, then we can bolt the leaf spring to it. And then that should give us, then we can kind of center it all and everything, straighten it out, and kind of figure out where the rear needs to go. So here's the rear shackles out of a different Chevy that I'm going to use for the front. As you can see, they do need new bushings. I plan on doing that at some point. But just like the rear, I just want to get it together for now. Just to have the truck sitting its own weight. My brother removed these for me because he works at Auto Wreckers. He was awesome. But he did mushroom this a little bit trying to get it out. So I've ground it down a little bit, soaked in WD-40, because I had it almost all the way out, and then because it was mushroomed here, so I had to pound it back a little bit, and this side's mushroomed too, so ground that back. And what I'm doing is I got it set on some pipe, hammer it down with a punch there, and all the way through. I got it a lot of the way through, and then, yeah, it was too mushroomed. So now we're going to give it another go. Got them all traced out. Made sure not to cut 2 of these out. And if you notice, I don't have holes. That's because I need to make these all exactly the same. And there's a different process for that I'll actually do after they're all cut out. So I did a lot to these without filming. What I did was I cut them out roughly with the zip disc. Then I did kind of a quick grind to them. Then, as you can see, I welded them all together as straight as I can. See, they're lined up for the notches on the 2 here. Haven't actually cut those out yet because I want to drill the corners first. And then once I welded them together, I ground them as close as I could to each other, so they're very similar. I do realize that all this could have been done with a quick plasma cut program and a table if I had one, or pay someone to do it. But might be something for in the future if I do another one, but for this one, it's all me, all by hand with what I got. And then I marked out the holes where I want them. Now we'll go to the drill press and drill them all. So they're all the same because they're welded together. Then we'll grind these down, break them apart. Probably keep the bottom two welded together and drill the corners in there. So they're the same. Cut the notches out of those as close to the same as possible. And then they'll be ready to go in the truck. And then I'll have to get some hardware. Start welding them up. So as you can see, I'm finally done drilling these plates. I ended up taking them to work because my drill press is from Fisher-Price, I swear. Got the holes drilled all nice, bolted on both sides here now. You can see there's a nice gap for welding. I might even just grind that little bit back there, just so I can get a nice gap, just to make sure when I bolted it in, it didn't force anything into place and it's not going to shift after I unbolt it. And also to get that nice penetration in the weld. Also got this one all drilled at work, all 4 holes through 1 inch thick. All 3 holes. Apparently I can't count today. Holy. All 3 holes. All 4 plates, that's probably what I meant to say. Yeah, 9/16 bit, drilled like butter. Just boom, butter, butter, butter. And I'll grind 2 of these away so that the other 2 stay together. The ones with the notches, and I will make sure to grind them out together so they're identical. Then I'll separate those ones, and then we can start welding those onto here. I'll probably unbolt it for that, set it on a bench. Well, if I even have a bench, I'll probably, by bench I mean floor, and weld that together. So let's see how that goes. Got these all cut apart. These ones are ready to come apart with the temporary welds. I ground them off. Well, ground that one off. This one fell off as I cut this, which is planned. And that's why it's all bolted together, so it doesn't shift as I cut it apart. And as you can see, they look like one piece right now. You can't even see the line in the middle. So here is a little different, but it doesn't matter out there. It just matters the relation from this to these, and that's all nice and straight. Now I wonder how they fit. Now this is not pre-planned. I have not test fitted this yet, so oh, look at that. Look at that. I just got to make sure that they're both the same. Rocks a little bit because this isn't actually square, so I just got to make sure they're both the same. Like tip them both forwards or tip them both back or whatever when I do it. And then that way they'll be the same on both sides. And then hopefully this is fairly square. It's all mocked up, getting held up by the jack, and looks pretty darn good. I was actually debating flipping this around and going with this hole. And then so I have options to move it even farther forwards, like out to here. But that one where it is, I kind of like it. Kind of works. I don't know if you can really see the center line. It's right about there above my finger. And it's like inch and a half in front of that center line. So I can accept that it's not too far forward so that it makes it look too wonky, but it's far enough forward so that it gains a little bit of clearance there. So yeah, I'll take that all apart, weld it all up, and start bolting it together. Then I'll see how low this thing has to go for the caster, figure out the back, which I started kind of figuring that out. I have plates from the wrecker deck. I already have holes in it. I might try to use those. I have to drill less holes. Got go on the inside of the frame and then bars out from there. I might actually use these, cut them off of here, so go out from the plate, and then I can rest on there, figure out where it's supposed to go, figure out for the holes and brackets, and then kind of do the same thing as that on the back. I might do it vertically, I might do it horizontally, I might just do one hole, I don't know yet. I'll have to see when we get down there. Well, look at that. Leaf springs bolted to it. Just got the outside ones welded. And then started mocking up for the inside ones. And started notching up for here. I'll have to kind of fight with a grinder and kind of maybe a Dremel and Dremel that out. Because if you remember from a previous episode, I'd already mentioned that problem. That kind of sits like right there, right where the bolt needs to go through. Ignore the other bolt hole. That was in the steel when I got it. I think I said that, I can't remember. But yeah, so little notchy here. Kind of looks really bad right now, but it'll eventually be cut out to about that Sharpie mark. And then leaf springs will be bolted to it. Mock-up 1 is so far a success. I haven't tried to get these bolts in yet. And these plates are not welded on. But thought I'd just have it actually bolted to the truck. See what happens. I'll probably put those all the way in and get it all lined up proper. I might just weld these while it's on the truck. Then they're proper width. Just hopefully they're squarish. Got this all on here, and I'm like super disappointed. Not only do my welds look like absolute dog shit and aren't even penetrating, all this is crooked as shit. I mean, it's awful. I'm not liking it at all. Didn't help that my huge welds in here did not hold at all on here once I started tapping this one to try to get it straight. It just kind of pushed this one over and popped this weld right off all along the whole thing. And it was only being held on by up here, so bang this side back and then try to straighten this side and decided I'd try to weld it in, but you can tell right there, none of that's, like, it looks like a nice hot weld, but right there with all that little splatter stuff, it's not penetrated at all. Same with this side. It's just, I think before I proceed any further, I should really get my welder fixed or looked at or something, because this is turning out to be a big pile of dog poopy. And I don't like that. I want this to be nice. I want people to look at it and go, wow, good job. That's awesome. Not, ooh, what happened there? Now for the surprise. So I bought a thing. 4 things to be more correct. 38.5 by 11 boggers. I know I got my 40-inch eggs, so these aren't as impressive, but they're decent tread. Got them for a good deal. They got my wagon wheels. That's the main reason I bought them, if you remember correctly. Said I only have 2 of them. You can't really see because of the light, but said I got 2 of them, and I really wish I had a full set. Well, now I got a set of 6. They just need to be changed from this purpley blue. Tires got some cracking, but they'll be good for off-road, just on the trails. And they got plenty of life left, so they'll chew pretty good. A couple of them are cupped a little bit, but you know what? They're boggers. They're rough to begin with, so if it rides a little rough, whatever. Using them as motivation to get the Suburban bracketry all done. It's sitting on its own weight so that I can see what those look like bolted onto it.